Imagine, just for a second, taking the vast, infinite cosmos, with all of its celestial deities and sweeping mythological battles, and shrinking the whole thing down so it fits entirely inside the human body. Well, welcome to our explainer on a truly fascinating, completely radical text. It's called Siddha Vedam by Swami Sivananda ParamaHamsa. Today, we're going to examine a philosophy that completely reshapes how we understand conscious energy. Because if you've ever thought of the divine as something, out there, just floating in the heavens or managing the universe from afar, well, this text argues that you actually need to look a whole lot closer to home.
It all starts with one massive, incredibly provocative question. Have we completely misunderstood the Hindu Trinity? For centuries, billions of people have just accepted this standard external view of the creator deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. These figures are so deeply ingrained in our global consciousness as the cosmic managers of the universe. But the teacher in the Siddha Vedam claims that our popular conception of the world is actually fundamentally flawed, and that's leading us to completely wrong conclusions about life itself. What this text proposes instead is what I like to call a great reversal. It takes these ancient towering concepts and brings the cosmic deities right down into the absolute core of our own biology and psychology.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the Trimurti misconception. Second, Vishnu as the mind. Third, Brahma as the ego. Fourth, demystifying Saraswati. Fifth, Shiva as the pure life force. And finally, uniting the three. Let's get right to it.
Starting off with Section 1, the popular Trimurti misconception. So, to really understand this text, we have to grasp the concept of the three fundamental qualities, or gunas, which shape all of existence. Now, the popular worldview states that Brahma aligns with Rajas, which is the highly active moving force of creation. Vishnu is thought to be Sattva, that calm, pure energy of preservation. And Shiva is traditionally assigned to Tamas, the dark, heavy, inert force of destruction, right? Well, the Siddha Vedam flips the script entirely. It is a total paradigm shift. According to the text, Brahma is actually Tamas, representing the heavy, inert nature of our ego and physical body. Vishnu is Rajas, representing the constantly churning, highly active energy of our mind. And Shiva? Shiva is pure Sattva, representing the pristine, tranquil life force right within us.
Moving right along to Section 2, Vishnu, the mind and king.
The source material brings the cosmic preserver down from the heavens and places him squarely inside our own heads. According to the text, the universe isn't some giant external egg that we're all just walking around inside of. Instead, it introduces this incredibly deep concept of pindanda. Think about the exact moment you wake up in the morning. Your mind projects the world outward, almost like an egg-shaped bubble, and this projection originates entirely from you, specifically from Vishnu. The text defines Vishnu not as an external god, but literally as your own mind's energy. We carry this mental projection with us wherever we go. The implication here is absolutely staggering when you think about it. If there is no mind to perceive, there is literally no world to be perceived.
The teacher in the text uses this beautifully vivid metaphor to explain this. He compares our conscious existence to blowing a bubble at the end of a reed that's been dipped in the thick, milky sap of a castor oil plant. When you blow through the reed, the sticky sap forms a bubble that expands outward, getting larger and larger. But here's the critical part. That bubble never actually detaches or separates from the reed. In the exact same way, your mind expands and projects the massive, complicated world you see all around you, but that world never actually separates from your internal, physical self. You are the continuous source of the reality you're experiencing.
Which brings us to Section 3, Brahma, the ego and body.
So, if Vishnu is the mind projecting the world, then who exactly is Brahma? Well, the text argues that Brahma is definitely not the grand creator of the external universe, out there building planets and stars. Rather, Brahma is Ahamkara, our very own ego, completely tied to our physical body. You know how traditional scriptures often depict Brahma with four faces? The Siddha Vedam explains this not as some literal multi-headed deity, but as the four distinct psychological faculties required for a human being to take conscious action. They are manas, which is the mind, chittam, the will, buddhi, the intellect, and ahamkara, the ego. Just think of a very young child, or maybe a bedridden adult. They might have a mind, a will, and an intellect, but they can't truly create or act effectively in the world because they lack the full strength of that fourth face, the complete, fully formed I, the ego. You literally need all four of these internal faces functioning together simultaneously to actually get anything done.
All right, Section 4, demystifying the goddess Saraswati.
Now we arrive at what is easily the most controversial and baffling riddle in the entire text. The Siddha Vedam acknowledges a deeply confusing element that pops up in traditional scriptures, and it poses the shocking paradox directly to the disciple. How on earth can the goddess Saraswati be Brahma's daughter, wife, mother, and sister all at the exact same time? I mean, if we take this literally as a story about physical beings, it's completely unreasonable, highly disturbing, and frankly, physically impossible. But here's the catch. The ancient sages who wrote these scriptures weren't lying, and they certainly weren't confused. They were speaking in highly technical anatomical metaphors. Let's solve this riddle right now by looking strictly at the human body. First up, Saraswati as the daughter. The text explicitly defines Saraswati as the word, literally the physical tongue inside your mouth. In this internal framework, Brahma is defined as the physical body, a concept known as jada, which means inert matter. Because the tongue physically grows out of and originates from the flesh of the body, the tongue is its biological offspring. Therefore, the tongue is the literal daughter of the physical body. Boom! Saraswati is the daughter of Brahma. Second, the wife. When we sleep at night, we generally don't speak, work, or engage with the world, right? That's because our ego, our sense of I, is dormant. But when we wake up, the ego, which again is Brahma, unites with the physical tongue to produce speech and carry out complex work. The text describes this coming together as samyogam, a union. It is basically a brilliant anatomical metaphor for the ego driving the physical act of talking. Because they couple together to produce action, she acts as the wife. Third, the mother. Pay really close attention to exactly how you wake up from a deep sleep. A sound occurs, maybe an alarm, a voice, a bird outside, and suddenly, your conscious awareness, your ego, snaps violently into waking existence. Your sense of I is literally birthed into daily reality by the mechanism of sound. Because the ego is woken up and brought into existence by sound, and Saraswati represents that sonic energy, she acts as the mother of Brahma. And finally, the sister. Notice how this perfectly ties everything back to the ultimate source. Both the ego, which is the I, and the physical energy of sound originate from the exact same quiet space, the deep, unmoving inner self. Because they are birthed outward from the identical internal source, they are logically siblings. When viewed entirely through this internal, psychological, and anatomical lens, this seemingly impossible riddle actually makes perfect, structured sense.
Okay, moving to Section 5, Siva, the pure life force.
So the teacher offers some amazing tangible proof of these internal natures by pointing to how these deities have been treated and worshipped in physical temples for thousands of years. Think about a traditional Vishnu idol. Vishnu is heavily adorned with elaborate crowns, expensive jewels, and bright yellow garbs. He is treated with all the pomp and circumstance of a wealthy king, and this proves his underlying nature is rajas, highly active, worldly, always managing affairs. Shiva, on the other hand, is worshipped through abhisheka, which is just a simple, constant pouring of pure water, deliberately stripped of all decorations and riches. This striking purity and complete lack of ornamentation proves Shiva's nature is actually sattva, just like a serene, detached monk. Shiva represents the pure, pristine, uncorrupted life force flowing through us.
But wait, what about Shiva the Destroyer? Doesn't he end the world? Well, the text specifically refers to him as Samhara Rudra. But here is the critical shift. There is no giant deity coming down from the sky to end the world. The destruction is entirely internal. Rudra represents the intense inner fire of our own life force. We are the ones who destroy ourselves. Through deep ignorance, constantly inflating our own egos, desperately chasing fame, and just burning our energy on endless worldly desires, we gradually and methodically burn out our own inner light. The destruction of the universe isn't some cosmic event at the end of time, it's the daily depletion of your own vitality.
Which leads us to our final part, Section 6, Uniting the Three for Moksha.
So how do we actually resolve this internal tension and achieve ultimate liberation? The Siddha Vedam lays out an incredibly clear, actionable metaphysical path. First, you must consciously recognize that these revered deities are not external gods waiting to be prayed to. They are your own active internal faculties, your mind, your ego, and your life force. Second, you have to stop them from fighting and unite them. Third, you must fuse them at the akasha. In this context, akasha is the inner ether, the original, totally quiet, undisturbed space within you, where all these energies were initially born. Moksha, or ultimate liberation, isn't some beautiful heaven you travel to after you die. It is a profound, conscious fusion of your own internal faculties right here, right now, in this living body.
You see, this ancient text isn't just a bunch of theory, it's a mirror held directly up to your daily routine. So ask yourself, right now, are your mind, your ego, and your life force actually working together in balanced harmony? Or are your endless worldly desires silently burning out your precious inner fire? It completely changes everything about how you view your own conscious energy, doesn't it? Thanks for exploring this source material with us today. Keep questioning and keep exploring.